Hello and welcome in this another video live session where we build together MCP server that can manage and create and execute your tasks and projects in with tools, with help of tools like Claude Code, Codex, CLI, or Gemini CLI, as well as any other tool like, let's say, Windsurf or Copilot that support using MCP servers. So this server can create tasks, update tasks, can do the same with projects which are higher level, basically full CRUD management of creation, using basically the agentic workflows, as well as we have the UI built, so a part of the agents like Claude Code, being able to create those tasks and manage those tasks. You can use either Kanban style boards or like simplified view where you can see basically the card with the tasks by project at the moment that were created either manually by user but mostly using Claude Code or Windsurf. Actually, I most of the time use Windsurf in chat mode to create all the tasks to save some Claude Code credits, and then I use, once I've got my tasks prepared and I'm happy with them, I use Claude Code to execute those. But in today's videos we are working on specific epic, actually to introduce epics. Now I need to kind of break down the tasks manually here into chunks, but the task itself is to basically create another layer between projects and tasks that is called epics, and that will allow me to create like a higher level functionality that I want to implement with multiple tasks broken down, so Claude Code has smaller chunks to execute. So in this video we will focus on implementing a specific functionality into the task list page view. Now currently we've got a project that can list only tasks, and for that it's using a list task MCP tool. Now because I now want to be able to click on a specific project and see both tasks and epics, I have created a new tool that is called list objects. Now it is a deviation from the current approach, as you can see in here we've got create task, update task, list tasks, and so on, get task and delete task. We have the same set of tools basically duplicated for projects, and that means that I would have to do basically the same for the epics. Now because there's already 24 tools, I know you can go, I believe, like 100 easily, but the agents seem to be quite cool with actually providing the extra parameters. So rather than having explicit tools to create task, create project, create epic, I've decided to break it down into a list object, create object, and so on, where the object will be an extra parameter, being task, project, or epic, or anything else that we later decide to add into the template. So if you think of global rules, that could be one of them, and then it would be basically easier just to manage it without have to create extra tools for entire set. So what is the state of the situation now? I've got the tool implemented, as I mentioned. Now I want to replace this page to use the new tool instead of the old tool that was listing only tasks. So it was using list tasks. Now we want to use list objects. I have gone ahead, rather than using Claude Code as traditionally, I thought I will test Codex CLI that was recently updated by OpenAI team. Now I have entry licenses for, I can't remember the names for each of them, but you know, the lowest licenses for both ChatGPT, OpenAI, as well as Claude. So when I use Claude, I cannot use Opus, but I can use Sonnet, and there's a there's a limit on what you can do and how much code it can produce and how many interactions you can do, and it's same with Codex. Hence why I use tools like Windsurf and now Codex to help me to create, and of course Google CLI as well, because Google is actually quite generous with the free tier. So I try to balance all the tools available for me for as little money as possible, to be able to create this tool as well as later develop other stuff with minimum cost. So again, I do pay for Windsurf. I'm an early adopter, so I think I pay like £10 or something like that. So it's very minimal. And now I use Windsurf mostly to create tasks. But come back to the task, I will explain quickly what I have done. So I already connected Codex CLI into my account. So I've logged into my account, and I gave it a prompt to basically create the task. So this is my prompt. It's not very neat. I basically used start recording in Windsurf to do the transcription for me because I was lazy. I didn't even work on it or clean it, and I just decided to paste it in here and ask Codex, that already is, by the way, connected to our Project Flow MCP server, using to create the task for us. Now it went off and it created the task. So you can see it went over here, and we've got the description and everything else. What I would say is that when I created using basically any other tool, the formatting of the content, if you think about it like this, is each individual block. Like description is one block, basically one row in the database. Then we've got investigation and notes. So there are individual blocks, and then we've got some markdown formatting coming up from UI. But then everything in here is basically what the agent would provide as an output. So if you see in here, and I would have to judge, the Codex CLI is a lot worse than you can see from, I believe, Windsurf that created this markdown we can edit that in here, and you can see the way Windsurf, let's say, outputs against the way Codex have done it. I mean, I'm sure there is area for improvement, and they will improve very quick. But at the moment, there's few things that led me to believe that it's not as good as it could be. But never mind. I'm sure this will be fixed soon. So give me an output, but even with the output, I did have to go and ask and do further investigation, because basically it went and it populated everything as it should technically, but based on the prompt. Now, this internal prompt for investigation is basically to go off and go through the code base, investigate the code base, and tell us which specific files it will need to adjust, to basically give a context to the executing agent, so it doesn't have to go in and do that again at the time of execution. But it seems like Codex didn't really do that. Therefore, I had to, go in and ask it to, update the go and update the task, and specifically ask it to go in and search the code base and then update the task. So and it went and it's done. So maybe it's just a glitch or something, but we got it at the end with the second prompt. So now what I want to do is, as we've got the task prepared, I will actually go off and create another instance of Codex. And then I will take our task, copy it, and I will say inside Codex, I will say execute task 289. So that's a new instance. It doesn't have the context anymore because I open it in the new instance. Are we going to test how the execution of the task is working inside Codex CLI. And by the way, I have never done it, so it's the first time I'm doing it. So we will see, we will test basically how the agentic workflow is working, execute task tool is working here against like Claude Code or Gemini CLI. Claude Code, by the way, you can see some outputs. Claude Code, by the way, it's perfect most of the time, and that there's no any problems. I do understand that it might be both me and that the way the tool is designed, as well as the agent. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's still in alpha, so it's a long way from going even into beta. But Claude is working well, Claude Code is working well, Claude Desktop is working well as Windsurf. Gemini CLI, I did have some problems in the past that later on were fixed. So now is basically time for Codex CLI to see how it performs. So it's asking me to allow the command. It is asking to create the branch, which is what we want to do. So let's go and create the branch. The branch does match basically our task. This is what we want to do. and it's going off and doing its thing. I'm really excited as well because uh, I kind of, although I like Claude Code very much, I kind of like to jump across different tools and hoping that there will be good competition in coding and anywhere in the AI. So it's always interesting for me to see with a little bit of hope that there will be another breakthrough and someone will catch up eventually to Claude Code or Claude in general in terms of coding and all that. So there's always a lot of excitement when I test new tools. And because I already have the paid license from OpenAI, I mean, why not use it for coding as well as everything else? I'm actually quite happy that they, made some improvements. I remember I've tested some initial Codex CLI where you had to provide the API key, but then I was like, because I'm paying already for the license, it wasn't the perfect it wasn't perfect in the code. I thought I might as well just use like Claude Code or Windsurf, where I was paying for Windsurf. I didn't see that jump in here where with Claude Code you can see, compare it to Windsurf, compare it to Cursor, which I don't really use that much recently, but Claude Code is basically smashing everything in terms of the coding quality and everything else. So all the tools they have some benefits. I mean, for now, like Gemini CLI is obviously the context window. It's still doing quite well with the smaller tasks. I use it. They recently increased the free tier as well, so that is really helping. So I'm definitely going to jump between all these tools and try to test them while I'm developing project flows, MCP, and see how they're performing. I actually don't remember. I think I'm still on the default setup, so I think I'm actually gonna it changed something. I don't know what it changed. Well, it started changing because my project flows board disappeared. I'm going to switch back to code. Right. Okay, I don't even know what it's doing. Hmm. Okay, so I think this is usually subject. Interesting, it's creating loads of stuff. It's using summary, parent idea. I think there's some legacy stuff that it's reading because it's not really sure if it's doing the right thing now when I look at it. But, you know, interesting. Let's have a look. Right, let's have a look what it's done. Right, so it claims that it did that. But I don't really believe it. It doesn't look like it did. Okay. So that's UI. I'm just going to reset UI. It should pick it up straight away, but I don't think it did. So why? Do I need to restart something? I didn't change any MCP stuff. I'm going to clear it, rerun the MCP. Interesting. So you're saying you did, but you didn't. Let's try it again. I cannot see. I cannot. Okay, so yes, it's talking about sensible limitations, and we later will need to, do it. Right, right. So it's cannot see any epics or new pill. New pill with tasks or task or epic on the card in task list page. So basically it's claiming that it's done all that, but I cannot see any change in here. So let's ask Codex to review everything it's done. I mean, this is reasonably easy, I guess. I'm surprised that, you know, it didn't work. Let's have a look at. Right, it didn't even tick anything. Ooh, okay. So I can see task, 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 task. So that I can see the task now. I still cannot see the epics. Slidable task card. So we've applied the item type. Now that's update plan. Boom. It kind of added the task list, which is fine. The only thing we still cannot see is an epic. Ooh, so we've got epic here. 279. Okay. Okay, so we've got some epics. Right, so okay, I can see the epics on the bottom. Project full stack. Epic. Right. Right, so so kind of it's done what it's supposed to do. The only thing is, I got project as well, full stack. Okay. That makes sense. That probably needs to be changed because we can see that it's basically connected to a task. We don't want the project to be connected to a project. But never mind. Right. Right. It kind of done what it's supposed to do. So let's switch back to the task. Right, so we've got the card, which is fine. That is basically doing what it's supposed to do. I probably will need to add more to that. I was hoping, we will be able to see after double clicking the page, but I guess this was not part of the ticket. we've got that in doing. Yes. Okay. Right, so it basically has done what it's supposed to do. Right. I'm just going to say review the task progress, update all the items and move to completed if this is the case. So overall, it seems like Codex is performing quite well in terms of execution of the tasks. You know, and creation as well. I will be definitely testing it with, you know, bigger size of tasks, but, you know, for now, and I believe that, which one do I run? Let's have a look like, let's have a look at model. Okay, we run it at medium. Yeah, medium is quite good. I sometimes even use a low inside of Windsurf because it's quite cheap. They're both actually medium and low, but you know, medium is doing things a little bit slower, and for small tasks, a low is quite exceptional as well, I have to say. But yeah, never mind. So, you know, GPT-5 medium with Codex CLI on small tasks is one, creating them quite well, and then following the agentic execution using MCP tools, no problem whatsoever. Although, you know, the task execution, right. All right, so we have add UI test. Right, there's two that it didn't do. Okay, fine. I mean, in general, it did what it was asked for. So for me, that task is completed as well. So anyway, thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.